Hello all, welcome to another endgame study of the Solving Art Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This endgame study composed by Viacheslav Anufriev, another chess composer from Russia. It's very simple to see that we are playing for a draw. We just have a bishop with white, so it's white to play and draw. As always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't. If you already are prepared, you already know the main countdown of 10 minutes will start, and then I'll come back to start the solution with you. And here we are, and the first move, the only one, the good, the brilliant one, is to go with the king c1, double exclamation mark. We are playing for a draw, so it's very easy to see we need to stop all the threats from black. And the dangerous one is to go with the pawn d2, so the king won't be able to get to the adjacent squares, so the pawn will promote and it will be game over for white. Also, there's a different threat to promote the pawn in the a file to a1 and forcing the king to be decoyed to that square and so getting the play in the other side. So moves like, for example, bringing the bishop to control the advancing of the first threat are not going to work because black just promotes and sacrifices the just promoted queen. The king needs to accept it, of course, and now the enemy king takes our bishop, and promoting the pawn will be easy peasy from here. What else can we do with the bishop? The bishop can go to g5, so again controlling the advancing of the pawn to d2, but then black has a simple option. It will go with the king around and then force the promotion of the pawn. Let's see that in action. Let's see, for example, of course, over here, promoting to a queen won't help anything because the king needs to help the pawn. But over here, it's easier to stop it, just bringing the king in front of the b pawn. And so if the d pawn tries to promote, we just sacrifice the bishop and then we grab the two remaining pawns. So, of course, from black perspective, sacrificing now makes no sense. But of course, going to the side with king d4, going around the pawn, we'll just reach the position where now we can force the promotion, grab the pawn, and then black gets three easy pawns to win the game. So from the beginning, it's easy to see that the first threat is the pawn, so the king needs to go there and stop it from advancing. So now it's black to play. And without being able to advance the pawn, black has a simple idea. It goes to the b file with the king. Of course, over here it won't work. Nothing else. So this is just another option. But just going to transpose after some moves to the same idea. So king going to b4 is the move that we are going to deal. Now it's white to play. So again, you get another minute, 1 minute countdown, and then I'll come back to continue this solution. And let's go for the continuation, another brilliant move. Well, here the bishop is not so easy to see, needs to go to the corner. Bishop a1 is the brilliant continuation. Why? Let's say the bishop goes to b2, looks similar, but with the bishop going to b2, black is going to be able to reach with the king to the a1 square, and then with the two advanced pawns on the third rank, being able to force white into a losing pawn in the game. How can black do it? Well, it simply promotes the pawn to a1, forcing our bishop to go there. Now bringing the bishop to a3. Now it's white to play, of course, needs to wait. So let's say the bishop goes to d4, and we reach that position that I told you that the king goes to a2. Now the bishop moves again, just waiting. And black forces the position with sacrificing the d2 pawn, so the king takes it, and now advances the b2 pawn, forcing the bishop sacrifice. And as you can see here, this is a lost pawn endgame for white. So black will be able to promote the pawn to a queen, and then it's going to be easy win. So when the bishop comes to a1, it stops that sacrifice that eases things up for black, with allowing the king to get now an empty square on a2. So it's black to play, and if black goes now to a3, as we saw, the pawn is on a2, so white can simply check the king, forcing the king to go back, and then simply can move the king in front of the d pawn. And so how can black force this one? Promote to the queen is not possible anymore, because when the king comes with the same idea of going to a2, force the bishop to sacrifice, we are able to take the pawn first. And when we force the bishop to sacrifice, it's going to be different, because we have one extra tempo that is enough to grab the last remaining pawn, and so keep the draw. So black is smarter and goes with the king a4. Going with the king a4, now that we understand better the idea from black, is not such a big deal. We need just to wait another tempo, so we need to do, let's say, an useful move with white. We don't have many. We already saw that going with the bishop outside of the a1 square, it hasn't shown to be a good idea, so we move the king to d2. Of course, now black advances the pawn, so the idea is to pass move again for white, and now it's white to play again, so needs to go, let's say, with the king to c3. It's forced, okay? Black to play, of course it will check the king, it's white to move, and so let's start another countdown, another minute. If you need more, pause to the final phase of this interesting solution. And the final move, the one that solves every problem from white, I hope you have found it, is to go with the king b2. Why? Because it's now black to play, and there are not many moves anymore. If the king moves away, I simply can grab one pawn, and if the b pawn, the d pawn advance, I am in time to go there, while the bishop, of course, controls the long big diagonal. Of course, here it's even simpler. If the pawn advance, it's just a stalemate, as there is no check, the king can't move, the bishop also can't move, and so we can't move, so it's a stalemate draw. I hope you have enjoyed this one, and as always, I catch you up with future videos. Bye bye.